No, nothing zany. That's what I thought. Okay, just good old-fashioned fun, like police brutality. But that's the stuff you love. Christ, okay. Perhaps buckle up. I don't know if you remember this, but last year was pretty, full of that police brutality, including, but not limited to that time where—
Cody, stop! It's you! From the future!
No! No!
Did I catch you at a bad time?
Always. If you're going back in time to talk to me, you're always catching me at a bad time.
Oh. Well, since I'm here anyway, I couldn't help but overhear your desire to change the passage of time. But you're in luck, little me. Thanks to this, time can now be reversed. Simply put this into your computer, and time will rewind itself, sending a video message in reverse through the events you just witnessed. I call it Unforward-tion.
Oh good, you're doing Tenet. Yeah, we've all seen that, for sure. Everyone is talking about Tenet. Thanks, just give me the thing.
Bloop.
Oh wow, it worked. You sent it back in time. You did it. Any other horse you want to say or do? Some kind of song or anything you need to get out of your system now.
Oh, well, what are you up to? Do you need any help with your news program? You know, back in my day, I used to be quite the
And we're
news
moving
man.
on. Just gonna... There we go. Like nothing happened. Where were we? Oh, right, the police brutality. Good stuff. Not so much a thing you missed as it is a thing that dominated the news cycle last summer. Specifically, the almost entirely peaceful Black Lives Matter protests calling for the defunding of the police, which suddenly stopped when Joe Biden was elected, therefore ending all racism. Or maybe the election just took over the news cycle. I don't recall what ended the racism, just that it was definitely ended. And now that the dust is settling, you know, now that all racism and police brutality's ended, we're getting a scattering of lawsuits, half-assed apologies, and shocking revelations of just how shitty the police were during these dark times that are totally now over. Not to mention that thing where a bunch of inflamed, predominantly cracker-ass and pro-authoritarian Stop the Steal protesters stormed the US Capitol and was met with a hilariously less hitty and tear-gassy response from the police, showcasing the obvious difference when the gathering is of a whiter, more bootlicky form. And then those people literally attacked the police with Blue Lives Matter flags, as if, I don't know, maybe the people who wielded those all last year didn't actually care about police lives so much as police upholding their own values, specifically white supremacy. Anywho, overall, the other protests, the Black Lives Matter ones, claiming that police were poorly trained and violent racists, were met with overwhelming affirmation that the police were indeed those things. Like in 100-page reports on police violence during those protests. And then we all kinda stopped talking about it. Because racism had ended, thank you, Joe. But what if, perhaps, hear me out, what if racism hadn't actually ended? And while we all moved on, a bunch of those police that did the bad things, that made the headlines, are now quietly getting off faster than a perverted mime.
Erie County District Attorney John Flynn says he makes no apologies after charging 2 Buffalo police officers with felony assault last summer. On Thursday, Flynn announced a grand jury had dismissed those charges against officers Aaron Torgalski and Robert McCabe. They were arrested after they pushed 75-year-old protester Martin Gugino to the ground last June. Flynn couldn't go into much detail about what happened inside the grand jury proceedings, since that's kept secret under federal law.
Oh, right. You remember that brazen assault? The one we all saw happen on camera where 2 cops shoved an old man over while unprovoked, and that old man would go on to have a concussion and ultimately lose hearing in one of his ears and have to walk with a cane? You know that really open and shut case of assault we all saw happen, and we're like, geez, well, if those 2 brazen goons don't get punished, then maybe we should just stop having America. Yeah, they didn't get punished, despite their crime being on camera. And we'll probably never know why that is, despite definitely knowing that they did the assault. Because it's on camera, you see. which I guess isn't enough to get a cop in trouble.
In Philadelphia, a high-ranking police officer caught on video beating a 21-year-old Temple University student has been charged with aggravated assault.
That's Police Staff Inspector Joseph Bologna, a real Paul Blart melon farmer seen beating a protester on the head in June. The protester, a 21-year-old Temple University student, required stitches for their injuries, but not before getting arrested while suffering a head injury. You can probably guess where this is heading, which is Joey Bologna becoming a free man at the start of the new year after a judge ruled that, quote, prosecutors had not presented enough evidence to establish that Bologna's use of his baton amounted to a crime. You know, despite the evidence being him doing that crime on camera. And if it's not a crime, perhaps we should make it one? To quote his attorney after the charges that we all saw happen on camera were dropped, this is really a great victory for those people like Inspector Bologna. Those people being, one assumes, meat-themed hate balloons who should be in jail for violence. Don't adjust your YouTubes. That schlubby blur of rage is also Inspector Joey Bologna, recorded a day before the other assault, doing a separate, equally less provoked assault. Anyway, no charges against this wacky and terrifying fictional man who actually exists. Or at least not yet. To be fair, they have refiled the charges. You know, because he was filmed doing the crimes. It seems like it should be easy, but whatever. I'm not a law fella, just a flawed yella. Yuck, yuck, cops are murderers. Like, you hear about when they shot Black Lives Matter protester Jorge Gomez back in June and claimed he had pointed a gun at them. Turns out that, according to new surveillance footage, he was actually just running away. So yeah, it sure seems like they executed a man publicly and then lied about what happened, and maybe could someone go to jail about it, please? But hey, at least we successfully defunded them, no? Not actually that either? And in fact, a good deal of big cities are increasing their police budgets, including left-leaning ones. And Minneapolis, the place where George Floyd was killed that promised to disband the police, didn't actually do that. And the cities that did try to cut budgets didn't really do it by much, and like almost nothing got done. That's a weird thing to happen, geez, and gosh, and golly. Seems like there needs to be continued calls to action for protests on the same level as last year, and like, wowee, there's just so much to get into here, including but not limited to all the other recent cases of police officers shooting unarmed black people since George Floyd. You know, like this man named Carl Dorsey, or this man named Dennis Plowden, or how about Jonathan Price, who was tased and then shot and killed by a cop for the crime of trying to break up a fight. Oh, and here's a mental health call that ended in the unarmed and black man being shot and killed. And here's one in Ohio where the unarmed black man wasn't doing a crime, but was shot within 10 seconds of the officer showing up. That was 3 weeks after cops in the same city shot Casey Goodson Jr. multiple times and in the back. But I'm sure they had a perfectly good reason to do it, nothing fishy there. I'm sure there will be some kind of consequences, right? Like how this officer totally lost his job for lighting up a vehicle that was backing up after giving no warning to the car and killing a 19-year-old man named Marcellus Stinnett. They also wounded his girlfriend, who later said the cops were harassing them prior to the murder, but justice, because he lost his job for the murder that he did. Dude has to get a new job. It's pretty tough, right? These days, especially. You gotta fill out applications and stuff. Yuck. Anyway, thus completes our update on police violence and protests. We, totally did it, you guys. And also, I'm sorry. This video is already a handful, but with any luck, we'll come the hell on. Okay, yeah, I get it. It's just like Tenet. Can we just focus on. All right, I'm sorry. I guess this means I'm just gonna be doing reverse stuff. That's great. Looking forward to that. Glad that's in my future. I'm really happy about all of this. Yeah, no, I get it. Time is inevitable, and Ouroboros or whatever. Thanks, see ya. Sorry about that, everyone. I agree that it sucks and makes no sense, and like, it's not even really timely at this point, and no one saw the movie.